It's been almost 2 months since pitchers and catchers reported. Newcomers were welcomed, old friends were reunited. And on February 19th, the Angels assembled their first official workout. But the days in Arizona are but a memory now. The Angels hit the road to Anaheim last Saturday, and now just one Cactus League game remains. All the players are ready, from the grounds crew to the bat boys. It's almost time to get down to business. Opening day is just 2 days away. Time for one final rehearsal. Baseball has returned to the Big A. Welcome back, Angels fans. Angels baseball on Fox Sports West.
What a gorgeous night here at the Big A. Beautiful sight for baseball. The finish line is just ahead of us, but before we get there, one last game. Freeway Series continues here from the Big A. Hi, everyone. From inside the Big A, I'm Victor Rojas, along with my partner, Mark Gubson. We welcome you here to Fox Sports West Baseball, and it's been a spectacular spring training so far for the Halos. One more game to go. One player left to be seen here by the home crowd. That is Vernon Wells. Been struggling with some hamstring problems, but he is back in that starting lineup today.
Boy, he told us he was healthy the other day. 280 career hitter, over 200 career home runs, 3-time Gold Glover, now patrolling left field. Run producer and can also prevent runs from scoring. A guy can steal some bases. A dynamic offensive force should help this club and score a lot of runs.
Scott Kazmir towing the slab for the Halos, going up against Hiroki Kuroda. Cactus League action and the Freeway Series wraps things up. We will have lineups and first pitch when we return.
Way series. The Halos took the game last night. Nice come-from-behind victory, scoring 2 runs in the 9th inning. To pick up the win, Scott Kazmir and the Angels taking the field very quickly here. And Scott, much like he did last year, kind of scuffling a little bit this spring. Overall, in the spring, 0-2 with a 7.79 ERA. As you look at his overall numbers from last season, and the same issues have persisted for Scott, trying to get over it. He feels good. The Angels continue to see good things out of him. The results, however, have certainly not been there. We will have the lineup for Don Mattingly and the Dodgers here in a minute, but Rafi Furcal leads things off, swinging at that first pitch, and it is rolled foul. This game is underway.
It's always a good feeling when you have the guy swinging at the first pitch against you. Can be more aggressive, get ahead of the count, but once in a while get that first pitch out, which is important for a starting pitcher.
This is the 6th start for Scott Kazmir this spring. As Furcal takes down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. 17 in the 3rd innings, 23 hits, 10 strikeouts, 12 walks, and that's the biggest issue. That's what we saw last year from Scott as well, is trying to get ahead, stay ahead mentalities. That pitch almost grazes Furcal, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
The big thing, Scott always has trouble determining if he's going to use a 4-seam fastball or 2-seam. That was a 4-seam fastball with cut action. Again, the bottom line, if you're a pitcher with that type of ability that Scott Kazmir has, the mindset has to be throwing that first pitch for a strike.
Furcal looping one down the right field line. Long run for Torrey, but it's going to slice into the seats. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on the switch hitting shortstop, Rafi Furcal, an all-star last year for the 2nd time in his big league career. Mike Scioscia and the Angels 17, 13, and 1 in Cactus League action this year. The beauty of spring training records, you don't want to win too much, you don't want to lose too many. You just kind of get everybody healthy and ready to go. As this one's fouled back, count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And getting back to that mentality about that first pitch, attacking the strike. So not only you get ahead of the count, which gives you a better chance of getting the hitters out, but that opposing club sees you. If you're throwing first pitch strikes, it tells you have confidence as a pitcher to attack and not afraid of contact. If you're behind in the count a lot, then all of a sudden hitters on your opponent senses the ability that you're not willing to go challenge him. And I think that's a big thing for Scott. Throw strikes early and then establish your secondary pitch to be able to get some easy outs.
Gone to a full count here on Furcal. Payoff pitch inside, almost got Furcal. Goes to the backstop. Leadoff man is on for the Dodgers. Let's take a look at that lineup that Don Mattingly, in his first year at the helm for the Dodgers, runs out there tonight. Furcal leading things off at shortstop. Ivan De Jesus Jr. at second base. Andre Ethier is in right. Matt Kemp is the center fielder. Juan Uribe at third base. James Loney at first. Marcus Thames serving as the DH tonight. Rod Barajas behind the plate. Gabe Kapler is out in left field and batting ninth. De Jesus hitting .309 with 3 runs batted in this spring. Committed a big error in the 9th inning last night that kind of opened things up for the Halos to score those 2 runs. Jonathan Broxton.
Offensively, you're going to look for the Dodgers to be patient like Don Mattingly was as a hitter. Want to always get himself in a good fastball count. So you're going to see the Dodgers taking some pitches. Saw Furcal working a walk there, even though he was behind early in the count, but still didn't swing out of the strike zone.
Quick throw over, and Furcal is back. Furcal, even missing 52 games last year, mostly due to a hamstring issue. Still stole 22 bases last year, always a threat. Not what he was when he was with the Atlanta Braves, but can swipe a bag as De Jesus takes a big rip, fouls it back, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. De Jesus with great numbers at AAA Albuquerque last year. Played there all season long, hit .296, 7 home runs, and drove in 70. Very good numbers for a second baseman. Now, somewhat thin air in New Mexico.
Definitely hitter's leg.
Yeah. 0-2, grounded to short. Should be a double play. Ibar to Kendrick on the first. Trumbo's got it. And just like that, 2 outs.
That was a solid turn there by the middle infielders, Ibar and Kendrick on the ground ball. See, working ahead of the count, Kazmir was able to induce 2 outs with 1 swing of the bat.
The Defensively for the Halos, you've got Wells, Borges, and Hunter from left to right. Infield from third to first. Sturris, Ibar, Kendrick, Trumbo, and Jeff Mathis getting to start behind the plate. Who knows what Mike Sush is going to do on Thursday, but this is a pretty good indicator of what the starting lineup might be on Thursday in Kansas City.
Definitely looks like this is going to be the starting lineup. Get an opportunity to get a couple at bats, make some plays in the field.
Andre Ethier takes ball one down low. A little morale booster for Scott Kazmir, too, after that somewhat erratic plate appearance with Rafi Furcal. Get that double play ball, and Ethier takes a strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bottom line, he got ahead of the count. You can make him swing at a pitch out of the strike zone. That's what you want to do as a pitcher. Make him hit your pitch, not to be put into a fastball count.
Off-speed pitch, a little soft liner to second. Howie has got him just like that. The top of the first comes to an end. The Angels coming up with the Sturris, Kendrick, and Abreu when we return to the Big Edge. Things off at third base. Howie Kendrick is at second. Bobby Abreu, the DH, he is batting third. Torrey Hunter, the cleanup man, in right field. Vernon Wells in left. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Big hitting Mark Trumbo over at first base. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. And batting ninth, playing center field, the speed demon Peter Borges rounding out that starting 9, facing Hiroki Kuroda, who's also making his 6th start this spring. 0-2 and a 5.73 ERA so far in the Cactus League this year.
Well, he had a solid season last year. The win-loss record's not an indication how well he pitched. A good fastball, 88 to 93. He's got a curveball, slider, and a split-finger fastball.
First pitch to Meiser is a fastball away. Sturris is hitting .309 this spring. A couple of home runs, 7 runs batted in. Uribe at third base, playing in on the grass just in case Meiser has any ideas of dropping one down. And we talked a little bit on Sunday, a little different approach for this Angels team, kind of getting back to what they were a couple of years ago, putting the pressure on the defense.
Well, I was talking to Mike Scioscia before the game today. That's exactly what he said. He loves the speed of this team. He said it's the best he's ever had as the manager of the Angels, a team that can run, they can hit and run, they can bunt, situational hit. A lot of options for him, and they're only going to get better when Kendrys Morales gets back in there, which Scioscia indicated maybe about 2-3 weeks if everything goes well for him. But right now, he loves the ability to run the bases, put pressure on the defense.
There's Kendrys, started hitting yesterday. This one out toward the alley in left center field. Kemp got a pretty good jump on it, not going to get it. All the way to the wall is Sturris heading to second. He will stop there with a double. I'm not sure if Matt Kemp just did not get a good read on that ball. from the onset. It looked like he had a beat on it, but all of a sudden that ball never really had a chance to be caught.
A fastball that was elevated enough for Meister to drive the ball very well the other way, but you're right, Matt Kemp looked like initially didn't see the ball, didn't get that good first step. Now lead off double, now see what kind of situational hitting Mike Scioscia could put on even in a preseason game here, the ability to start doing some things, get some action going.
Howie's overall numbers last year, 10 home runs and 75 runs batted in. And if there's been one guy that has been locked in offensively for the Angels as far as not only getting the knocks as he tries to hit it to the right side of the infield but fouls that into the seats, but also making loud outs is Howie Kendrick. Comes in batting .355 in the spring with 13 runs batted in.
Boy, couldn't you just sense that when you saw him in EP today? Just looking at his eyes, that vision he has going right now, and just he wants to get the season started. Look, he's focused. This could be a big year for Howie, which will be very important no matter what part of the lineup he's going to hit at.
Oh, one pitch is down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Corona last year 11-13 with that 3.39 ERA. Slides in nicely into that rotation with Clayton Kershaw. Chad Billingsley signed a 3-year contract with the Dodgers. It was announced today. This was chopped on the ground to short. Not going to move Asturias over. The call playing that ball in the short house still gets Kendrick for the first out.
As a hitter, sometimes you're trying to be able to hit the ball the other way to advance the base runners, but a pitcher's job is to make sure you pitch on the inner half to keep you away from doing that. And that's what Corona was able to do against Howie, forced him with that ground ball to the left side of the infield.
So with 1 away and Asturias still at second, here's Bobby Abreu, the DH. .320 average this spring. 3 home runs at 15 runs batted in. Kind of played Bobby to pull a little bit on the infield with Furcal shading him more up the middle, trying to keep Asturias close to the bag. Not necessarily an overshift per se, especially with a guy like Bobby, because when he is on, and we've seen it, last year being the exception, you pitch him away, he'll take that hole on the left side.
That's when he's on his game. You mentioned that last year. A lot of times rolling over ground balls to second base, trying to pull it instead of staying back and trusting his hands.
This one out toward left field, chasing Gabe Kapler back a couple of steps. He's got it for the second out. Defensively for the Dodgers in this ball game, you got Kapler in left, Kemp in center, Ethier in right. Juan Uribe trying to get a 3-year deal in the offseason. He's at third base. Rock for call at short. De Jesus at second. James Loney at first, and Rod Barajas. The time of the Mets and the Dodgers last year is behind the plate.
And Andre Ethier out in right field has one of the better, stronger arms in the right field position. Very aggressive as far as charging the baseball when it's in front of him. It's a lot of good plays. That's why if you're a pitcher on the Dodgers, be aggressive and throw strikes. It's going to pick you up by making the plays in the outfield.
Torrey Hunter steps in, hitting .286, 3 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Torrey been dealing with a little tightness in his quad. Got back in the lineup last night. Back in there again today. And as he told us on Sunday during Fan Fest, it's just kind of a veteran move. Veterans, according to Torrey, see those last couple of days of spring training and say, you know what? My shoulder's a little tight, a little sore. Need a couple days off.
Yeah, you can figure that out. The more years you play, more at bats or more innings pitched, you know exactly when you need to be prepared and when you can just shut it down for a couple days to get ready for the season and not waste some good hits and good home runs.
Count is even now. 1 ball, 1 strike.
As he said, it's not on the back of the bubblegum card. What do you do in spring training? So why waste it?
That's right. Had a great time with him up in the booth on Sunday. Vernon Wells. Matter of fact, Scott Downs, new reliever for the Halos, scheduled to join us up in the booth today. Talk a little bit about him and his stint on the disabled list to start the year. That broken toe. Foul tip. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Torrey coming out of his shoes on that swing.
And again, Torrey's really good with getting the pitch out over the plate around belt high, drives the ball well to right center field, but prefers the ball in the inner half. Those eyes light up when there's a pitch out where he can get his arms extended and crush it.
Sturris had a double to start the bottom of the first inning. Kendrick grounded out to short. Abreu with a fly ball to left. That's why Meiser's still at second base. Corota going that fastball. This is low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott's going to join us in the top of the second inning. There's Vernon on deck. Toward out towards shallow center field. Matt Kemp coming on, not going to get it. It falls in for a hit. Sturris will score. RBI single for Torrey. 1-0 Halos. Not one of those that is squared up in a line shot, but effective with 2 outs. Torrey getting the job done, picking up his 6th RBI. And it brings up Vernon Wells. Vernon had been dealing with some tightness in his hamstring. Hitting .279 this spring with a home run and 6 runs batted in.
You notice that a little bit more so when you're playing in Arizona in spring training. Hamstrings, groin injuries, just because there's not a lot of moisture in the air. Down in Florida, great for your leg, a little more humidity, easier to get loose and get the sweat going.
This was tapped foul. Corota left a hanger right over the heart of the plate. Vernon just got a piece of it. Count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike.
And more of a product of not seeing live pitching for a few days. That's a pitch that Vernon generally is going to crush.
31 home runs last year, 88 runs batted in for the Blue Jays. Corota very deliberate out on the mound. Getting ready to throw his 17th pitch here in the first. Chopped foul. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Corota scheduled to start on Sunday. The Dodgers open at home against the San Francisco Giants. Corota scheduled to face Barry Zito on Sunday.
The Dodgers play the Giants, what, 7 times in the first couple weeks of the year?
It's a big old hang with them.
Yeah. Be low scoring games, I would imagine, with those pitching staffs.
Vernon goes down swinging on the breaking ball. That will end the first, but the Halos get a run on a couple of hits. And after 1 complete, Angels on top 1-0. Cooperson. It's our pleasure to welcome in the Angels' newest reliever, Scott Downs, kind enough to join us. And how you liking it so far with the Angels?
I'm liking it so far, except for being a little sidelined there for the last couple of weeks. But we're going to get over that, and it's going to be, we've got a good chance to win. We've got a great group of guys, and, I'm personally glad to be here.
You've already started throwing off the mound. But I know you've got to run through everyone downstairs in the clubhouse, from trainers to the skipper, but personal timeline, do you think it's going to take too long for you?
I don't think so. I think I'm already a little bit ahead of schedule of what they thought. I don't like sitting and watching, so whatever I can to get back as fast as I can. I'm going to try and prove people wrong, sometimes myself. But I'm like I said, I threw off the mound yesterday. I'm throwing off the mound again tomorrow, and then from there, it's up to what Soch and the trainers have in store.
So what's the next test? Covering first base, fielding your position, things like that before you go out and pitch in a game or so?
Yeah, I think so. They had me in the Swim-X, I guess, today, so I'm doing some running, that kind of stuff in there. Maybe tomorrow morning I might break off the mound. I'm not sure. I'll do whatever they tell me to do.
How was the baseball coming out of your hand throwing off the mound? Does it feel good?
Felt good, yeah. Felt fresh. Felt like I hadn't done it in a couple weeks.
Dodgers have Kemp, Uribe, and Loney here in the top of the second against Scott Kazmir. Is that a frustrating thing for you? I mean, you were throwing the ball very well before the freak injury.
Yeah, it's very frustrating anytime you get hurt, but just doing something, a normal everyday job, and then you go out and stub a toe, and it's just how quick it happens. But I try to stay as positive as I can. There's really some things you can't really control. So I'm going to go out, and like I said, I'm going to bust my tail to get back as fast as I can.
Well, how do you feel about your mates down in that bullpen? You guys look like, on paper right now, it should be a very solid, versatile bullpen for you guys.
Yeah, I was very excited when I got over to see the young arms. And that was a pretty nice play right there. To see the young arms that we got down there. We got some flamethrowers. They're still learning. They're still learning how to pitch, and I think that's where when they brought me in, that's where I'm going to stand and kind of lean them towards one way or the other. Just give them my experience and what helps me get through it.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about guys down in the bullpen, especially veteran guys, can help younger pitchers out so much down there because they feel the pressure. They hear that phone ringing. Right away, the adrenaline's going. They're saying, I'm ready to go in there, but you might not necessarily be ready. Your breaking pitch might not be as refined as you want it to be before you go out in the game. Right.
Uribe pulling this one down the left field line. Is going to try to go to second. The throw from Vernon is not a dime. It's a double for Juan Uribe. A nice play by Howie Kendrick to start the inning. Uribe getting that double off Kazmir. Man in scoring position now for James Loney. Scott, I want to ask you about the offseason because the market for relievers this year across Major League Baseball, robust. A lot of guys signed at different places. How did you end up here in Southern California?
That was, the very first day I became a free agent. Tony was the first guy that called my agent and said, when this starts, when it starts going down, when you start talking to teams, keep us in mind because we like them. And from there, as soon as my agent had heard something, he called Tony, and the past is the past. I was here. It was kind of amazing how it happened. It went. My agent had said this could go quick. It could go very quickly. Didn't realize how quickly it was going to go. I was on a plane the next day, flying out to get a physical, but it was it was fun. And I told my agent in the beginning that there were places that I wanted to play, and if going out west, this was the only place I wanted to play. Just because coming here for the last 6 years, it's beautiful, the atmosphere, and they win. I like the way they play the game, and so it actually made my decision was very easy.
From a player's perspective, did you have any fear whatsoever of setting the market, being the guy that set the market, or being caught maybe shorthanded if the market kind of blew up a little bit as this was grounded over to second and there are two outs?
No, being a first-time free agent, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't put any expectations on where I was going to be, what the term, what everything was going on. I was just trying to enjoy it. That's what I was told to do, just enjoy it and have fun with it, and that's what I did. And whether it set the market, whether it didn't, I really can't control that. That's not. I just did what I thought was best for myself and my family.
And you mentioned the fact that chance to win. I mean, the Angels been a club that's won for a number of years, been consistent. And then all of a sudden here you get a chance to go play there. A little different atmosphere when you come into spring training as compared to Toronto. Even though you always had some good young players, but playing in that division, you never felt that you really would probably have a chance to win. But here, definitely a different case.
Yeah, no, it's no question. We, going in, knowing you're shooting for, you're shooting for first place, of course, but in that division, you don't know what you're looking at. You're looking at maybe third at best with the Yankees and Red Sox with the way they, the way they play, where they spin. But coming out here, it was when I first walked into the clubhouse, the atmosphere was totally different. You could see guys have the urge to win, and I haven't been around that for the last 6 or 7 years. So I'm very I'm looking forward to that opportunity to strap it on with these guys, because I know they're going to go out and give it their 100%.
This one out towards right field. Torrey's going to make the catch. Before we let you go, we got to go to break here. Vernon's out on the field, so he can't hear you. You got a nugget on Vernon Wells, your former teammate at Toronto, that we can kind of crush him on every single night?
I wish, but I don't.
No?
I wish I did, but no, I don't. You're going to have fun watching him. I know that.
Scott, we appreciate it.
Thanks,
Middle
Scott.
of the second, Angels up 1-0. It'll be Ibar, Trumbo, and Mathis here in the second inning against Hiroki Kuroda. Thanks again to Scott Downs for stopping by. Nice job by Scott Kazmir at the top of the inning, giving up that double to Juan Uribe, but then getting James Loney to ground out, and Marcus Thames hit that fly ball to right field. Ibar takes upstairs, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
Boy, if you're Scott Kazmir now, you've seen that defense being played behind you. Aren't you going to be more aggressive? I mean, your thought process is pitch to contact. These guys are going to catch the ball in the outfield this year. The defense in the infield, very athletic. They're going to make the plays. Just be aggressive. If you walk people, you put yourself in bad positions.
Scout with no strikeouts, 1 walk. That was to lead off the ball game. Rafi Furcal, but then erased him with the double play ball. One ball, 1 strike on Ibar, hitting .310 this spring. Over the top of that off-speed pitch, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mentioned earlier, this is probably the lineup very similar to as far as personnel. Mike Scioscia will have out on Thursday. The ball hits Ibar. He will take his base. Kuroda trying to come inside. That'll bring up Mark Trumbo with a man on at first, and on Sunday against the San Diego Padres, Thumper just crushed one out to center field. That ball just kept rising.
Well, that was previously bat. He had a double over center fielder's head. It got over his head in a second. This one got out of the ballpark. This great sound off the bat. Mark Trumbo.
6th home run of the spring. 20 runs batted in. Getting a lot of playing time at first base with Kendrick out.
Looks at a fastball on the inside corner for a strike.
Kendrick's feeling a lot better. Maybe a couple weeks away, taking batting practice. We're going to see. He finally feels he's going to be not too far away. But again, that's not an easy process coming back from the broken leg that he had. Being patient with him. Now the foot feels better. Boy, how's this offense going to take off when he comes back? Switch hitter with gap power and ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Very good defensively at first base. Changes the whole dynamics of the lineup. Then you might see some different people hitting the different spots. But balance throughout and a lot of speed.
1-1 pitch is down low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, I mentioned the 6 home runs that Mark Trumbo has hit this spring. That puts him tied for 3rd in the American League as far as spring training home runs. Care to venture a guess as to who the American League leader in home runs this spring is? 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Eric Hosmer from Kansas City?
No. Come on, man. He's not going to get that much playing time.
Well, you were saying he was going to the Hall of Fame. You heard from Ed Lynch he was going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Well, you're right. I did say that. Jake Fox of the Baltimore Orioles with 10. 10.
What would Torrey say to that? You're wasting him now? But he's got to make a spot, get a roster spot, though.
He had an issue, I believe it was yesterday, against the Tigers. 7th or 8th inning. Orioles. That was the game that Max Scherzer starting, got knocked around. They were up by 10 runs in like the 7th or 8th inning. Got a 3-0 count, and Fox was hacking. This one bounced over to third base. Uribe's only plays across the diamond, and Trumbo is retired for the first out. Ibar ends up at second base. Hey, folks, opening night is Friday, April the 8th, when the Angels take on the Toronto Blue Jays at 7:05. All fans in attendance will receive a 50th anniversary T-shirt courtesy of Nitto Tires. This one-of-a-kind shirt has the names of every player, coach, and manager ever to wear an Angels uniform. Purchase your tickets at Angels Stadium Ticket Office or by visiting angels.com. Is your name on there?
I think it's on there. Really small print, I'm sure.
There's no doubt that's a collector's item.
Yeah, no doubt. As long as they don't put your ERA against by your name, I'll be all right.
Or hit batters or what? Pick off attempt at second.
Just keep it clean.
Oh, man. So what do you think about Jake Fox hacking at 3-0? 10-run lead in spring training.
In spring
training.
Well, when you're hot like that, I guess you're going to keep seeing that baseball. So once the season starts, you can continue your swing. But hey, pitchers don't like when guys are hacking 3-0, especially when there's a big deficit like that. But maybe he's just trying to make it out quick to get the game over with.
Yeah, probably. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, there you go.
Unlike Jim Leland, that was screaming at him from the top of the dugout, and Buck Showalter had a conversation with him after he made an out. Mathis swings through that one. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Our old friend Keila Ka'aue of the Kansas City Royals, second with 7 home runs.
I saw he hit his 7th home run.
Yeah.
Change speeds against him. He likes to hit the fastball. Stay down and away. Got great power.
Mathis swinging through the breaking pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Maybe once and for all, when we're in Kansas City, Keila can sit down with us on camera and kind of tell us the meaning of his name.
I think he would love to do that.
Another pickoff attempt. Been handed a note here that apparently in Hawaiian, Ka'aue means one who hits home runs.
7 of them, as a matter of fact. It's amazing.
One ball, 2 strikes here on Jeff Mathis, having a fine spring, hitting .395. The home run and 8 runs batted in. Kuroda trying to expand the strike zone. Evens a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Jeff looks confident, just talking to him before the game, how good he feels at the plate and how comfortable he is calling the games with his pitching staff also.
He chases the breaking ball, and down he goes for out number 2. Second strikeout for Kuroda.
Boy, that's a tough pitch to lay off, especially after the one before was not too far out of the strike zone. It comes right back at the same pitch, same plane. It's difficult for a batter to hold off and not swing at that pitch. It's close enough to the strike zone.
Here's Peter Borges with 2 outs. Ibar over at second base. Halos up 1-0. Torrey Hunter hitting an RBI single in the first. Peter hitting .385 with a couple of home runs, 12 runs batted in, 6 stolen bases this spring. 3 doubles and a triple. Wild last night with Peter at first base, went to third on a base hit to left field. This one's chopped on the ground if a call to Hopper. That will end the second. 2 in the books here at the Big A. The Angels leading the Dodgers 1-0. One to nothing. Cable Cam giving you shots of inside the ballpark. Scott Kazmir on the mound. This is what Mike Butcher said about Scott Kazmir and his performance in the offseason.
Scott Kazmir came out here this winter, November 1st, and just really dedicated himself to getting himself in baseball shape, really working on his arm slot, getting through the ball, and just really committing to his pitches. But he's looking a lot better this spring, and looking for him to go out there and have a strong season for us.
Rod Barajas takes that pitch inside to start the third inning. It'll be Barajas, Kapler, and Furcal, 8, 9, and 1.
Again, getting back to mechanics, getting in baseball shape. It all comes down to throwing strikes for Scott Kazmir and being aggressive and forcing the hitters to swing at his pitch. Sometimes as a hitter or a pitcher, you worry about your mechanics, where you're landing. Eventually, if you're throwing strikes, people start swinging the pitches out of the zone, and that's what you want them to do.
Barajas takes a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. I mean, at some point, it's got to be frustrating for the individual as well, hearing this was fouled off, 2-2 now. All types of advice, and having to be reminded of whether it's a good outing, bad outing, mediocre outing. Well, threw too many pitches too early, had to come out of the game early, too many walks, velocities not what it used to be a couple of years ago. That's got to get frustrating, somewhat burdensome as well. Barajas hitting one high and deep to left field. Wells is back, and that is gone. Barajas with a solo home run to start the third inning, and this game is tied at 1.
Yeah, the bottom line, the way you eliminate that and all that talk and the questions is go out and put together a good win streak and be effective on the mound. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get pitches out over the plate, which power hitters like Barajas, when he gets that fastball, it's on the inner part of the plate like that, it's going to deposit the ball out of the yard against you. Bottom line, it's more important if you're throwing strikes. A lot of times will pop that up, hit it into the ground, you get it out. You have to have that thought process of pitching to contact and not be afraid to.
This one looped into shallow center. Howie Kendrick got a good jump on it, and Kapler is retired for the first out.
It's a good comeback right there. Pitch inside, get a jam shot, you get an easy out on one pitch. Again, if you're a pitcher on this staff right now, you have to have a lot of confidence. If the ball's not hit out of the ballpark, it's going to be caught. And even Mike Scioscia joked about that today. Even if it's by the fence, Torrey Hunter's liable to bring it back in, or Vernon Wells, or Peter Borges.
Top of the order now, and for call, swinging at the first pitch, and that is rolled foul. For call started this game off with a walk. The only walk issued by Kazmir to go with no strikeouts. Count even now at 1-1. The line's even for both teams. 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors. 2 balls and a strike. That home run, by the way, by Rod Barajas, is 3rd of the spring. You saw the graphic in which he had 17 home runs combined last year, 12 with the Mets, 5 with the Dodgers in 25 games. A jam shot flare to right field. Howie going back out there, 2 outs.
And Howie gets a real good jump on fly balls in the shallow right field. Good first step. Going back on the ball, waiting for Torrey Hunter to call him off if that was going to be the case. Jammed him again. First step, running back, waiting if Torrey's going to call him off. If not, he's going to make the play, and he made it look routine.
So 2 outs and nobody on. Here's De Jesus, the second baseman, 0 for 1. Rolling into a 6-4-3 double play. This one rolled over to third. Meiser has it. That will end the inning. Rod Barajas ties things up, however, with his 3rd home run of the spring. We head to the bottom of the 3rd here at the Big 8. We're tied at 1. The third, Meiser is Sturris to lead things off against Hiroki Kuroda. Means the top of the order is due up now for the Angels. Is Sturris, Kendrick, and Abreu. Meiser had a double to the alley in left center field, came around to score the first run of the game. This one lined into center field, and the leadoff man is on board again. Brings up Howie Kendrick.
A couple years ago in spring training, the Angels had a lot of good numbers offensively and took it into the season. Last year, guys struggled at the plate, and it kind of carried over into the season. The batting average was down, but the approaches at the plate have been fantastic from the last few weeks of spring and be able to carry it into the season. Obviously, when you go to cooler weather, it might be different in Kansas City. But the reality is it's similar to what we saw a couple years ago in which they won, over 90 games playing consistent baseball on the offensive side.
Howie's 0 for 1 with a ground ball to short, takes a strike. Kuroda, by the way, a couple of strikeouts. No walks, 1 hit batter. And that base knock that Sturris just picked up, that was the third hit that Kuroda has allowed. Both of these teams last year at 80 and 82. Line into the dugout. Took out a couple of those Dodgers from the top step. Nobody got hit. Just a matter of everybody stumbling down those steps. They call those ugly finders, right?
You said that. I got hit many a times in there. So what are you trying to tell me?
Well, I think that's when the phrase was coined. Before there was satellite television. Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. Babe Ruth times.
Things were shown in Technicolor.
There you go.
Howie in the hole here. No balls, 2 strikes. The Sturris takes off. Boy, a ball in the dirt. Barajas had no chance whatsoever.
Boy, great read, too, by Meiser. Right away, saw that ball in the dirt, get away from Barajas. Got a good first step. Barajas did a nice job as far as squaring up, keeping in front of him, but Meiser did a great job of reading that and easily gets into scoring position.
Kuroda gets charged with a wild pitch. Man at scoring position now for Howie. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Inside out, job down the right field line. That's going for extra bases. Sturris comes in to score. Kendrick at second with an RBI double. The Angels back on top 2-1.
Well, Kuroda tried to do the same thing against Howie this time. Howie had Meiser at second base, tried to get him over. Kuroda threw a sinking fastball in the inner half, and Howie hit the ground ball to short. This time, a fastball that was up. Was able to fight it off, go inside out, and able to get the good part of the bat on it and drive it to right field. And it's just inside the chalk. Good piece of hitting by Howie Kendrick. Made that adjustment this time around as far as advancing the base runner. But got to pitch up to be able to do so.
Third double for Howie this spring, his 14th RBI. Another man in scoring position. Still nobody out here in the third. Here's Bobby Abreu. Bobby with a fly ball to left, his first plate appearance. He's 0 for 1. Pretty good string. 15 home runs, 20 steals. Two balls and no strikes.
Impressive thing also playing over 150 games during that stretch of time too. Just consistently out there getting an opportunity to put up numbers. Playing day in and day out. Now I'm going to get acclimated to a little different position now. Playing the majority of the game at the DH role.
Dodgers working on their pickoff attempts to second base. Still spring training.
Yep. Do that a lot. Pickoffs, different bunt plays, but then once the season settles in, basically the only time you're going to see that is a daylight play from the shortstop or second baseman throwing the glove, and that's when you make the pickoff.
Rolled over to first. Loney's got it. He'll take it himself. Abreu's retired, but Howie moves over to third. One out for Torrey Hunter with the man at third base. Now, the old argument is, there are some folks who look at Bobby Abreu's at bat and say, oh, that's a productive out. I beg to differ. You're batting in a 3 spot, 4 spot, 5 spot.
That's a run producing position.
Believe me.
You're right about that. If you're a different part of the order, 8 and 9 hitters, number 1 and 2 hitters in your lineup, that's your job to set the table, get guys in scoring position. But when you're in that 3, 4, 5 spot, even the 6 spot in the lineup, your job is to drive them home. But Torrey's happy though.
Yeah. No, it's not like I'm dogging Bobby or anybody who does something like that. It is what it is. It turns out well because you move the man over to third base. But if you're that guy in that 3-hole, great, you're getting high fives in the dugout, but I'm probably pretty chapped.
You're already in scoring position at second base.
That's right.
Howie's job was to get him over to third base because that's what you do in a number 2 spot. Bobby's been a run producer throughout his career. He's going to, obviously he'll get some high fives from the guys in the dugout saying good job of advancing the runner, but his mentality is to get him home.
I never noticed Bobby Abreu's chain until Torrey on Sunday said it on our telecast. 2-0 is fouled back, 2 balls and a strike.
That's right. He did mention that.
There's a lot of things that were talked about at Sunday's telecast, and we're waiting to see
what Vernon does.
If they come to fruition here
yes.
in tonight's game. Dodgers are playing their infield back with the man at third base. And 1 out. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, you would think a good fastball count for Torrey right here with Vernon on deck. Be sure that Torrey's going to be swinging rather hard at this fastball if it's anywhere near the strike zone, trying to get a ball at least in the air. Or up the middle in the ground, it's going to get a run across.
Torrey with that RBI single in the first inning, picked up RBI number 6 of the spring. Corona certainly has not been afraid of busting that fastball in on right-handers.
With a 3-1 fastball, 93 would sink action. This time he ran that fastball into 91 miles an hour.
Another payoff pitch. And he fell off to the right.
We're challenging with a fastball once again. Does have an open base. I'm thinking he's going to throw something breaking right here. A slider or curveball. He's been on those fastball. Maybe a little bit late, but getting closer to squaring up the baseball with on the fastball count.
Right back up the middle into center field, make it 3-1 Angels.
Another fastball, and Torrey kept getting the timing down better and better as each fastball was thrown. A missed fastball right down the heart of the plate. Was right back up the middle. Good balance. Part of the bat on that fastball that was down around belt high, right over the middle of the plate.
3 hits in the inning allowed by Kuroda. A couple of singles and a double. Here's Vernon, 0 for 1. Strikeout victim that ended the first inning. Halos now with 5 hits in this one. Torrey looked like he was leaning a little bit. Torrey takes off. They pick over. The throw to short, and Hunter is out.
We get a great view from our cable cam to be able to see how quick Torrey was trying to guess along with Kuroda. He's assuming he was going to go home with the pitch to get a better jump. And a nice pick off, and Loney, a nice throw to shortstop to be able to make that play. It's a difficult throw for a left-handed throwing first baseman when you have the guy picked off and running towards the bag.
So 2 outs now. Kuroda back to the full windup. It's a sinking fastball. No balls in a strike. Pickoff caught stealing. Mentioned the Halos have been more aggressive on the bases this spring. 40 stolen bases as a team. This one pulled up the line. Uribe's not going to get it. That'll go down into the corner. A 2-out double for Vernon. And a man in scoring position now for Eric Ibar.
Vernon, good job as far as getting his hands through that baseball in the inner half of the plate. Again, with movement, Kuroda's got a good fastball working. In the inner half, so you have to be quick. Vernon certainly was turning on that pitch and hit it down the left field line.
Dodgers pitching coach Rick Honeycutt is going to come out and talk things over with Kuroda. He's given up 4 hits here in the 3rd inning. He started a total of 53 pitches, 34 for strikes. And be sure to celebrate 50 years of Angels baseball during the 2011 season with the Flex Plan. Select the 20 games you want to see and receive tickets to opening night free of charge. The Flex Plan also offers a postseason ticket option and the chance to double your option with the purchase of 2 or more plans. Buy your Flex Plan today at angels.com/mini-plans or by calling 888-796-HALO.
Well, that was pretty cool going in there with the cable camera going in there. Maybe you're going to see guys talking into that glove more often. You'll be able to read their lips there to be able to tell what pitch is coming.
It never gets tiresome watching guys put the glove over their mouth, especially an extreme close-up.
I never did that. I never did that. Trust me. I often wonder why I catch him with his mask. I was still putting his glove over his mask also. But I guess with the cable camera, you might be able to get in there and get a better view.
There's some talented video coordinators down in the clubhouses, I guess. Lip read through masks. 0-1 to Ibar. Chopper over to short. Call's got it on 2 hops. Not only in the inning, but the Angels get 2 runs on 4 hits, retake the lead. 3 in the books here for the Big A. Angels on top 3-1. putting his warm tosses. Well, the Halos were in Tempe. The great one, Muhammad Ali, came by the clubhouse, talked to the guys, took pictures with the team and individuals.
That would have been amazing to be a part of. I don't think I would have been able to breathe. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. Those epic matches with Joe Frazier, George Foreman.
Andre Ethier takes a breaking ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Ethier, Kemp, and Uribe here in the 4th against Scott Kazmir. Two balls and no strikes. Ethier hit a little humpback liner to Howie Kendrick to end the first inning. So he's 0 for 1. So you'd like to see the very quick shutdown inning by Kazmir. He delivers a strike, 2 balls and a strike. No strikeouts and a walk.
You know, it's spring training. It's the process of getting ready for the season. It's a good opportunity to be able to have that shutdown inning.
He falls behind here on Ethier. 3-1. Matt Kemp on deck. Dodgers with 2 hits. Had a double with 1 out. Off the bat of Juan Uribe in the 2nd. This one bounced back up the middle into center field for a leadoff base hit. The other base knock, Rod Barajas, for the leadoff home run in the 3rd. And now Ethier picks up the leadoff knock to start the 4th.
Even in a fastball count for Ethier, 3-1 pitch by Kazmir, challenge him. Ground ball, not hit particularly well. That should tell you as a pitcher that your stuff is still good enough. You challenge hitters. If you get ahead, you can expand his zone, but it's still just a routine ground ball that found a hole.
That being said, I agree with you, and I understand where you're coming from. But that being said, it's getting to that hitter's count where you're giving the hitter the advantage. As Kemp hits a fly ball to center, Borges is under it. 1 away.
Exactly right. You want to get ahead. Scott has had 4 1-pitch outs, I think, so far in the night. So that should tell you that's why you have the guys out in the field.
Now you're seeing a couple of guys, and a lot of the Dodgers actually throughout the first 3+ innings have been very aggressive early on, trying to jump ahead. And the scouting report probably says, and I haven't read them, but they probably say Scott's a guy that's going to want to try to get after you early on. So if he's going to try to throw you, establish you a strike, it's going to be early in the count. Let it fly at that point. But there are times that there are pitchers that maybe get a little shell shock and get afraid of throwing that first pitch strike, and then it's 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, and you're still not putting that hitter in that defensive mode.
That's exactly right. But the reality is you've gotten 4 outs with that 1 pitch. And if they're up there, the report is Scott Kazmir is going to throw a lot of first pitch fastballs. So be it. You can get outs with it. Now once you establish you could throw a strike at that first pitch, then you can go on the outside part of the plate or get some easy ground balls like you can see here with a 4-6-3 double play, getting easy outs.
Perfect job. Nice job done by Scott Kazmir after that leadoff single by Ethier. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, Mark Trumbo due to lead things off when we return, and the Halos up 3-1. nasty cable cam. Taking some great shots here at the Big A. Little test that they are running here. Fox being Bay and Major League Baseball, the Players Association. Just trying to see if this is something that
gives you some great views.
Yeah, could be in use throughout the year. The cables, we've been told, are part of the field. Therefore, they are in play. But really, most of the cables, while action is ongoing, are basically in foul territory. They're not necessarily out over the field. The camera is actually positioned over the stands right now, not in play.
Well, it does give you a great idea of where the ball jumps off the bat or a break on certain pitches. And obviously where guys are positioned in the field too to make plays. Well, that's the one pitch for Mark Trumbo he's going to have to try to lay off if he can. That nasty slider from a right-handed pitcher off the outside corner.
And Trumbo sees 3 pitches, goes down swinging for the first out. 3rd strikeout for Kuroda. One out for Jeff Mathis. Jeff Mathis 0 for 1, a strikeout victim in the second. Matt Palmer's up and loosening. That means that Scott Kazmir is pretty much done. We would assume. This was sharply hit, and that's into center field for a base hit. 1 out knock for Jeff Mathis.
A nice piece of hitting by Jeff Mathis. Got a pitch down and went with it. Hit the ball up the middle.
Scott, of course, with Joel Pinheiro starting the season on disabled, is scheduled now to start on Sunday. There's the 4th starter. There's the matchups Thursday. Jared Weaver going up against Luke Hochevar. Friday, Dan Herron, Jeff Francis, a left-hander. Saturday, it's Irvin Santana and Kyle Davies. And then the battle of left-handers on Sunday. Scott Kazmir and Bruce Chen.
Bottom line for Angel hitters against that Royal staff, not exactly power pitcher. Hochevar has a good fastball, but the other 3 are guys that utilize the all-speed pitch out of the strike zone, make you swing at their pitch. So you have to be patient, have to go the other way, particularly against the lefties, Francis and Chen. You have to stay back and drive the ball to right field. Bring him into the inner half, and when he makes a mistake in the inner half, that's when you get drive out of the ballpark.
Yeah, the Halos take off for Kansas City tomorrow. Mathis takes off, a little hit and run action. Borges chopping it foul. And because of the 2 off days that the Angels have next week, they have one scheduled Monday after flying to St. Petersburg on Sunday night after the game in Kansas City. And they've got the off day a week from Thursday prior to the home opener. Joel Pinheiro, if things continue to progress, will more than likely come off the DL and get that start on that Friday night against the Toronto Blue Jays.
He threw today in Arizona. The game was supposed to be at 9 a.m., but they ended up pushing it back till 1. But all indication was Pinheiro threw the ball well and is healthy. Be ready to go in that game, that home opener against Toronto.
Borges had a chopper to short in the second inning, so he's 0 for 1. No balls, 2 strikes. Scott Albert, the left-hander, is up and loosening for the Dodgers. Nice job by Borges laying off that. And it's 1-2. Toward the hole at short. for call with a backhand. They're only going to get one. That's Mathis at second. Borges reaches on the fielder's choice. Back to the top of the order, Meister Stewart. Talking about the schedule for the Halos. There's 4 games at Kansas City, including 3 day games. 2 games at Tampa, 1 night game, 1 day game. But back to open things up on Friday the 8th of April against the Toronto Blue Jays and the Cleveland Indians. That's kind of how the schedule plays out the first month of the season for the Angels. Kind of a seesaw, 6 out on the road, 6 at home, pretty much through those first 4 weeks. Steers takes a strike. Meiser is 2 for 2. Had a double with a run scored at the first, singled, and scored in the third.
And a schedule where you could see the Angels getting off to a good start, which I think is going to be important for them, considering what happened to them last season. Not the consistent numbers they anticipated, being 2 games under 500. So an opportunity to go off to a good start and build some confidence.
Count even now, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you look at Tampa, what kind of a team they're going to have this year after all those key losses from some of their good players. And then they bring in Manny and they bring in Johnny Damon. And he's a big pitcher in Matt Garza. Carl Crawford gone.
Still have some pretty good talent over there.
Yeah. Carlos Pena left to go to Chicago. Granted, the batting average wasn't there for him, but a guy with a lot of power, a great defender at first base. But they have a ton of talent. Hellickson's going to come up and be part of that rotation. You might even see Hellickson coming in for him in those 2-game series. One thing about Tampa, though, their bullpen. That's a completely revamped bullpen for them. Soriano gone, Balfour gone, a number of key pitchers for him over the last couple seasons. And Joe Madden, the manager from Tampa, likes to shorten up the game and go to that bullpen. With Joel Peralta there now out of their bullpen. It's going to be basically J.P. Howell's healthy right now from the left side, so there's some question marks out of their bullpen.
1-2 is lifted in the air, and this one will slice into the seats. The count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Benoit was there, did a great job. He left to go to the Tigers.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's some key guys gone. But again, they still have some good young players coming through.
All the years struggling as they did as a franchise, paying dividends.
All those #1 picks.
You're going to eventually hit on a few.
You hope.
Another 1-2. Oh, missed inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Kansas City's going through that same transition as is Cleveland. We saw them in the schedule, and Toronto.
Count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kuroda's now thrown 70 pitches. As we play here with 2 outs in the 4th inning.
Meister's had some comfortable at bats against them also. Looking to pitch out over the plate to be able to hit the ball the other way. Have success with it. Double and a single so far.
Gabe Kapler very shallow toward the foul line in left field. Kemp extremely shallow in center. There's Kapler, left of your screen. Two. Borges takes off, and it doesn't matter. It's a called strike 3. And Asturis is retired for the 3rd out. We've played 4 here in the Big A. It is 3-1 Angels. Finale of the Freeway Series.
It's a big crowd here.
Absolutely.
Ready to go.
That's what I like about the Freeway Series. You watch the game at Dodger Stadium last night. You see a strewn about a lot of red. You come here to the Big A. Some Dodger fans around here.
A few.
You heard them when Rod Barajas hit the home run.
Well, you saw quite a few Angel fans at Dodger Stadium last night. The one foul ball went right in with an Angel fan's hand, and he got booed pretty good for catching that one. But he did give it to a Dodger fan who was sitting next to him.
Yep. Kazmir falls behind here on James Loney. 2 balls and a strike. Scott's only thrown 48 pitches, 29 strikes. Certainly a good outing thus far for Kazmir. That one's ripped into right field. They're going to hang up. It does for Torrey. Makes the catch for the first out. At opening night, that is Friday, April the 8th, all fans in attendance will receive a commemorative Angels 50th anniversary lanyard courtesy of Sherwin-Williams. Come join us at the Big A when the Angels take on the Blue Jays at 7:05 p.m. To purchase your tickets, just visit the Angels Stadium ticket office or log on to angels.com. There's the lanyard and the t-shirt. How about that? Scott Kazmir being removed from the game. Matt Palmer's coming in with the Angels leading it. Up by the score of 3-1. Scott Kazmir's night has come to an end, and Matt Palmer comes on in relief. Nice outing for Kazmir. 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. That was that home run by Rod Barajas leading off the 3rd inning. But right after that, he settled down, got the next 3 batters. Able to lead off base hit in the 4th, but then settled down. And now gives way after Loney lines out to right to the right-hander Palmer.
Matt Palmer's a guy that's very versatile for Mike Scioscia, Mike Butcher, a guy that could start. The long guy out of the bullpen. It's a good fastball. He sinks it. He cuts the fastball. Not overpowering 87, 89 range, but good curveball, slider, good changeup also.
Facing Marcus Thames, the DH. Delivers a fastball high. Matt Palmer this spring pitching now in his 7th game. He has 3 starts. Thames looks from foul and out of play. Matt's 1-0 with a 5.68 ERA, 19 total innings, 26 hits allowed, 11 strikeouts, 6 walks.
Boy, but this last game of the exhibition season, still some decisions for Mike Scioscia to make as far as some bullpen help.
A good run on that fastball in on the hands of Thames, and it's 1-2. Thames is 0 for 1, hit a fly ball to right that ended the 2nd inning. Check swing, he went around, says Alfonso Marquez. Down goes Thames for out number 2.
Good breaking pitch. A couple good fastballs with movement, 90-mile-an-hour range. On top of that 12-6 type break on that curveball. Can expand the zone. Working ahead of the count. It's definitely crossed the plate. And at most times when we face the left-handed pitchers, Palmer coming in there in this spot couldn't hold back on that breaking ball. Well, again, back to Scott Kazmir, certainly a lot of positives about that performance. I think you look at the pitch total, how many pitches he threw in that 4 1/3 innings pitch is around 50 pitch mark, which is excellent. Lead off walk and then settled down, did a nice job.
Good breaking ball drops in there. Barajas in the hole, and no balls, 2 strikes. One for one with that home run, his 3rd of the spring. As he chases the breaking ball, down goes Barajas. Mathis applies the tag, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. First time in this game Angels pitching has retired the side in order. We get to the bottom of the 5th here. The Big A, 3-1 Angels. Experts are talking about. Visit mysocalhyundai.com today. Angels up by the score of 3-1, starting the bottom of the 5th inning. You see a left-hander out on the mound. His name is Scott Elbert. 25-year-old comes on in place of Hiroki Kuroda. He was numbered last year at AAA. 1-1 with a 4.98 ERA. He scuffled this spring. This will be his 9th spring training game. No record, of 7.50 ERA. Limited in action, just 6 innings, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, 9 walks. Howie Kendrick, Bobby Abreu, Torrey Hunter. The Angels half of the 5th inning.
Well, when you're evaluating a young pitcher, that's what you look for, the walks to strikeout ratio. I guess you want to settle on at the very least a 2-to-1 as far as 2 Ks per 1 walk.
Howie loops one out into center field, and a leadoff base hit, his 2nd hit of the game. So he is 2 for 3. Brings up Abreu. Well, Albert, the left-hander, according to Baseball America, the Dodgers' 7th best prospect in their organization, mentioned just 25 years of age, a former first-round pick. And that was back in 2004. He was a 17th overall pick. He was the Dodgers minor league pitcher of the year in 2009. And each of the last 3 years, he's gotten a little taste of big league life. Pitched in 10 games in 2008, 19 games with the Dodgers in 09, just one game last year.
And again, consistency will keep you up in the big leagues for a long period of time. Really, the stuff is there.
Kendrick takes off. Bobby swings through it, and the throw is in time. And Howie is retired. Hit and run is on. Doesn't work.
Pretty good throw by Bras. When you think that was either a cutter or a slider. Right at him quickly. View, catch, and throw. Perfect throw. Be able to get Howie.
Tell you what, nice job by Furcal, too. Going out, that ball tailing away from him towards second base and staying with it as that ball tailed into the runner. Bobby lays off that pitch. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, so often you see a middle infielder stay away from that one, and the ball runs in, hits the runner, and come and slide into second. Stay with it, looked it into the glove, and was able to apply the tag.
Three and one now. Torrey on deck. Vernon Wells to follow. The Angels with a run in the first inning took a 1-0 lead. Rod Barajas tied it in the top of the third. Then the Angels retook the lead with 2 runs in the bottom of the third inning. But Bobby got the pitch he was looking for. 3-1 count, looking middle half in. And Elbert delivered it, just fouls it.
I don't think Bobby was looking the other way there. He was trying to turn on a pitch. Pretty good swing at it also.
That one's in tight. It's ball 4.
Well, Elbert, right here, you can see his delivery has a little slight hesitation when he comes in there to throw the ball. Hides the ball very well. If you're a hitter, you don't see it at all. It throws slightly across his body. It would be very difficult for a left-handed batter to stay back. And if you're throwing strikes, expand the strike zone against lefties, you're going to have a tough time hitting the baseball against him. Great deception.
There's Torrey with 1 out and 1 on. Takes that pitch inside for ball 1. Nice game for Hunter. 2 for 2 with a couple of runs batted in. Torrey hitting one high and deep toward left field. Metcalf back at the wall and gone. 2-run big fly for Torrey. Hunter makes it 5-1 Angels.
We talked about Elbert with that reception, but when you miss on the inner half of the plate and elevated enough, Torrey Hunter was able to jump all over that fastball. He did a nice job of looking for a pitch and getting that pitch and doing some damage. Not an easy ballpark to hit it out at night.
Nope.
Cool air. Squaring up a baseball.
4th home run of the spring for Torrey. And a 4 RBI night as Vernon takes one down low. Vernon glancing down to third base to see where Juan Uribe is playing after a home run by Torrey. This would be a good opportunity to drop one down. You weren't listening on Sunday. We kind of dared Vernon to drop a bunt.
He said he would think about it.
He says every time he comes to the plate, he looks down at third base. He sees the third baseman playing near the outfield grass, and the thought crosses his mind of dropping a bunt down. Then he steps in the batter's box, and he says, "Nah." This one foul back.
And then he tries to hit a foul ball back at us for bringing that up.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, even a mediocre bunt down the third base line where Uribe's playing, that's going to be a base hit.
He's not dropping one now.
No, earlier. He's playing back. That's never a good feeling when you're a pitcher. You give up a home run and a big power guy comes up and drops down a bunt on you.
Over to second base to Jesus. Moving to his left, retires Wells for out number 2. Go back to that Torrey Hunter home run. Right in his wheelhouse, fastball up.
Pretty good lift and separation on that fastball. Crushed.
Eric Ibar spins around, a hit from the right side for the first time this evening. Was hit by a pitch leading off the second, and then grounded out in the third. So he's 0 for 1. Hiroki Kuroda, by the way, for the Dodgers, went 4 innings, struck out 4, walked no one, gave up 3 runs, all 3 earned on 7 hits. His last tune-up start before his first start of the year. That comes on Sunday against the Giants and Barry Zito.
Certainly some positive. Anytime you can strike out 4 batters, like especially a red-hot Angel lineup that he went through. A lot of fastballs. In counts where you would assume he was going to expand his zone with a split finger fastball or a breaking ball.
Ibar fouls one back. 2 balls and a strike. That would kind of it's kind of headed your way, but
not quite ready. Not quite ready for that one.
No.
No.
You saw the thing coming at you, and all of a sudden you started working up a lather.
Yes, I did.
On a cool night.
I used to try to get away from those line drives up the middle.
This one lined into right center field, a base hit. Kemp got a good jump on it, cuts it off, and he'll hold Ibar to a base hit. 10th hit of the night for the Angels. And it brings up Mark Trumbo. Trumbo, a ground out to third, a strikeout. 0 for 2 night. Came in batting .314 for the spring.
Well, this should be a pretty good matchup for Trumbo here. The inner half for a fastball. Harper's got a good fastball. Supply a lot of that power. Trumbo get one on the inner half of the play. We can hear some good sound off the bat once again.
Down and in. And snowballs and a strike.
That was a pitch to drive. He just missed that one. That was a good swing of that pitch out over the plate. Got his arms extended, fouled it straight back. Never comfortable if you're on the mound and a guy fouls it straight back like that. You're already thinking, okay, I got to try something different. And you go back to that down and in breaking ball.
No balls, 2 strikes with Ibar at first. He goes down and in. That one clocked at 93 miles an hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We touched on it a little bit on Sunday. The Angels were taking on the Padres here at the Big A. About Mark Trumbo and his approach to the plate. Doesn't look like a guy who we saw toward the end of last year. Kind of overwhelmed, feeling for the baseball. This one chopped over to Loney. He'll take it himself. And that will end the inning. But the Angels tack on 2 more runs courtesy of Torrey Hunter's 4th home run of the spring. It was a 2-run shot onto the rocks in left center field. 5 in the books. Angels on top 5-1. Got a big night himself. 3 for 3 night on a base hit in the first with an RBI. Base hit and an RBI in the third inning. And then it was a 2-run home run to put the Angels up 5-1.
It's amazing how confident you get as a hitter when you get that first hit, even though it was a jam shot, falls into the outfield, and the next 2 swings squared up the baseball perfectly.
New third baseman for the Halos, Alberto Callaspo, takes over for Meiser Estures. There's Alberto. So Meiser ends the game going 2 for 3, a double and a single, couple runs scored. Callaspo will slide into that leadoff spot. This one looked in the air and fouled into the seats on the first base side. No balls, 2 strikes on Gabe Kapler with the Dodgers. Sending up 9-1-2. Kapler for Call and De Jesus.
Last time in a 0-2 pitch, we saw Matt Palmer throw a very good curveball. Head of the count, can expand the strike zone here. Or has an opportunity to elevate also.
Overthrowing that fastball just a tad. 1-2 on Kapler, who is 0 for 1, having a little looper to Howie Kendrick. That came in the third inning. Kapler spending last year with the Tampa Bay Rays. Limited action. 59 games for them. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Not a bad story, though. A guy that goes from finishing his playing career to accepting a minor league managerial job and then saying, you know, I think I want to crank it back up.
He's always kept himself in shape. Can play a number of outfield positions. Got some pop off the bench. Local boy from out in the San Fernando Valley, the Taft High School.
This one being given chase by Trumbo, and he will run out of room, so the count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that's why you guys are pretty tight.
Valley guy. Well, that same high school. Robin Yount went there. White Evans, Kevin Kennedy.
It's a parade of all-stars.
Yeah.
A jam shot right back to Palmer. Kapler's retired for the first out.
Now it's time for a Hyundai keys to the game for Mike Scioscia and the Angels. Stay healthy, my friends. That's the important thing. That last game of spring training, is get your at-bats, get your throws in, and stay healthy, my friends.
With emphasis on my friends. 1 out here in the 6th inning. And here's Rafi for Call.
I'm ready for the season right now, Victor.
Call takes a strike. He has drawn a walk and has popped out, so he's 0 for 1. Scott Downs to start the year on the disabled list with a broken toe. Kendrys Morales. This one out toward left field. Vernon has got it. 2 outs. Miguel Pinheiro. Reggie Willis with that calf strain.
Guys are close to all being, I mean, it's pretty close to that roster being intact in just a few weeks. Again, important for some guys to get an opportunity to show Mike Scioscia and the organization what they can do when they're asked to be called upon to become true productive players.
De Jesus tonight 0 for 2. Double play ball and a ground out. Matt Palmer so far done a nice job. Drops a curveball in there. It's 0-2. He came on with 1 out of the 5th inning, replacing Scott Kazmir. Struck out Thames and Barajas to end the 5th inning. He's gotten the first 2 outs here in the 6th. Going back with that breaking ball. Good location if you're going to miss 0-2.
A lot of times you'll see a pitcher when they're hit 0-2 throw that curveball in the dirt. Jeff Mathis is a guy that likes to see a pitcher try to go up the ladder with the fastball ahead of the count.
Just missed outside, 2-2. Andre Ethier is the man on deck for the Dodgers. Jesus fouling one off to the right.
Matt Palmer, good life on that fastball. 90-91 tonight. So good over the top 12-6 curveball also. That's going to come with a slider here.
Just got a piece of it.
Yeah, when you see a catcher put the 1 sign down and then make a circular action, that means he wants the sink fastball, the 2-seam fastball, as compared to the straight 1 means the 4-seam fastball, trying to hit your spot. Try to finish him off with a curveball here.
Check swing. No, he went around, says Alfonso Marquez. No help needed. And Matt Palmer has himself a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Here's the Big A, 5-1 Angels. Over for Albert. Went 1 inning. Cormier, 60 games last year. 4.3 mark, a 3.92 ERA. A couple of new middle infielders for the Dodgers as well. At shortstop, actually at second base we'll start with. Jamie Carroll takes over for De Jesus. But Justin Sellers is the new shortstop in place of Rafi Furcal.
Guys getting an opportunity to show their manager and general manager they can still do the job in case there's some injuries, and there's always going to be injuries during the course of the season. Just want to go out there, make the plays in the field, the routine plays, do some good things at the plate. Cormier is a guy that's been around a long time.
Yep.
Guy that doesn't overpower you, tries to get you out with his slider. We'll give you innings. He'll make a bunch of appearances for you.
He's had a very good spring. This will be his 9th game. No record at 2.25 ERA. 8 innings, 10 hits. 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. He'll face 8, 9, and 1. Mathis, Borges, and Callaspo. At least those are the scheduled 3 batters. Cormier delivers a strike. Jeff Mathis tonight, 1 for 2. A strikeout victim in the 2nd. A base hit in the 4th. Breaking ball, line foul into the seats. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Mathis hitting on the air toward left center field. Matt Kemp going back to the warning track, and he'll make the catch for the first out. Mathis a long out, and that'll bring up Peter Borges. So just going back to what we were talking about, the disabled list. Kendrick's dealing left ankle, coming back from that. Fractured toe for Scott Downs, left calf strain for Reggie Willits. And that's kind of what it does for Mike Socia. We'll kind of find out what's going on once we jump on the bird tomorrow. We see the guys that are going to be on the charter going to Kansas City as far as who's made the team, and perhaps maybe some extra guys just in case.
Just in case. I try to work Mike Socia a little bit today to find out about that, but Mike was not willing to give out information. So this, there's still some spots. And obviously, after the game, they're going to have that final roster made up. But guys have done a nice job. This spring training has been very successful. Torrey Hunter said it best in the paper just recently, saying there's a lot of positives from the get-go in spring training. The club has played well, hit the ball very well, and very aggressive, which is going to be important for this team.
Borges takes a strike, and it's 1-2. Cormier last year with the Tampa Bay Rays. Borges puts it on the ground over to short and quickly finds Sellers. He retires Borges just barely for out number 2.
Well, the importance for that for Peter Borges to run it down hard down the line with that type of speed is going to force the infielders to have to go out and make that throw quicker. Instead of being comfortable, you're going to make some mistakes as an infielder when you see a guy flying down the line. Like, you're going to charge the baseball, or have to rush it a little bit, and that's where you get some hits and some errors being made against you. Boy, he's quick going down the line.
No doubt. 2 outs, and Alberto Callaspo at the plate, his first PA. Took over for Meiser Sturis at third base at the top of the inning. Alberto hitting .350 this spring in 19 games, 4 doubles, a triple, 7 runs batted in. He's ahead of the count at 2 balls and no strikes. Rich Thompson, who's had a very good spring, getting loose out in the pen. This one fouled back. Two balls and a strike. So A.J. Ellis is behind the plate for Rod Barajas now. Count even at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you look up at the scoreboard and see a lot of batting average, well over 300 for Halo hitters here in spring training. Granted, spring training doesn't count, but you would sure like to be in that position as a hitter, seeing the ball well, taking it into the season, as compared to hitting 120 and swinging a lot of pitches out of the zone. So it's very important to get your good swings in.
Alberto's numbers this spring dealt with a wrist problem better half of last year, especially the half that came in the Angels uniform.
The power production wasn't there. The wrist injury he had coming over from Kansas City.
Inside out one toward the hole. Sellers with the backhand, and Callaspo's retired for the 3rd out. Cormier has himself a 1-2-3. Inning 6 in the books at the Big A, and it's 5-1 Angels. continue. The Angels here at the top of the 7th have a 5-1 lead. A couple of changes for the Halos. Angel Castillo takes over in right for Torrey Hunter. Bobby Wilson is the new catcher. Takes over for Jeff Mathis, and Rich Thompson, the Aussie, takes over on the mound for Matt Palmer. Matt Palmer, by the way, before we get into Rich Thompson, spectacular. 5 hitters up, 5 hitters down, 3 strikeouts in his inning and 2/3.
Oh, yeah, great stuff. Good movement on the fastball, great location, good curveball, and his slider was sharp. And that bullpen depth for Mike Socha, Mike Butcher, that's important. Another bullpen guy right here, Rich Thompson, found it last year. More aggressive with his fastball, not necessarily trying to throw the ball 94, 95, going around that 90, 92 range with good action on it.
And Thompson getting a good little test here as Ethier fouls this one off to the seats behind the Angels dugout. And it's no balls and a strike. You'll face Ethier, Kemp, and Uribe. Scheduled 3 for Don Mattingly, the Dodgers, here in the 7th. Scott Kazmir got the start tonight, went 4 1/3, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, giving up the home run to Rod Barajas. Matt Palmer with an inning and 2/3, and now Rich Thompson on at his place. Thompson this spring, no record, a 1.29 ERA. This is game number 7 for him. And you would think, I mean, if logic plays any role in the decision-making process for putting together a roster, this guy has pitched himself onto this team.
And that's what you want as a pitcher, especially a guy trying to make a roster, and the opportunity. If you go out there and succeed and throw strikes, you've earned your spot.
Ethier tonight 1 for 2 with a base hit. This one lifted in the air to center. Borges is there. 1 away. One of the things that you see in spring training a lot, whether it's a starting pitcher or reliever, you want to get some extra work in. The process for you, did you like going out there after your start?
Especially early in spring training when you're usually settling around 2 or 3 innings in your start. You want to go out there if you have a quick 2 or 3 innings and you haven't got your pitch count up higher, you go down to the bullpen to get some extra work. You try to still have that same adrenaline, step in there and you have your catcher set up like he's calling a batter or 2. So it's a good thing to be able to expand, to get your arms stronger, because Matt Palmer may be pressed into a starting role at some point. So that's why you see him down in the bullpen. Very effective in his 5 batters. Didn't throw a lot of pitches. And now down in the bullpen, getting a few more in there to build up that arm strength for himself.
Matt Palmer threw just 23 pitches in his outing tonight as this one's fouled back. Thompson head of the count and no balls, 2 strikes. So see,
you didn't mind doing that when you threw well. That's
right.
For sure.
Oh, well, absolutely.
If you had a bad outing, you'd go down and get some more work in, and everyone's there giving you some grief down there in the bullpen. It's not quite as fun.
Exactly. So you figured 23 pitches in his outing tonight. As Kemp looks at a fastball high, 1 and 2. You figured, what, you go down and throw another 25?
Yeah, I mean, his role is, the perception. You have the setup guy, the situation, but the long guy out of the bullpen. So if a starting pitcher gets knocked out early in the game, he's going to be asked to give you 4 or 5 innings. So the best way to do that, especially after he was so effective with those 23, is to throw in another 25, 30 pitches. So if he's asked to do that and expand during the course of the game, his arm's going to be there for him.
Plus the off day tomorrow, travel day. So more than likely, unless he were to get here super early tomorrow morning.
You going to catch his bullpen?
No. Kemp breaks his bat loose from a shallow center. Borges comes in and makes a catch for out number 2.
I mean, you want to go out there with your suit on and catch him?
Yeah. It's a good look, too. With no shin guard either.
Yes.
Hey, get ready for the 2011 season with the Angels Freedom Plan. Starting at just $50, it allows you to enjoy the freedom of 10 ticket vouchers to use however you choose at over 60 Angels home games. Use your vouchers at 10 separate games or use all 10 at once. Buy your plan today at angels.com/mini plans or call 888-796-HALO. Juan Uribe takes a huge hack and pops it up on the first base side. Mark Trumbo runs out of room. It's no balls and a strike on Uribe.
That's one thing about Uribe. He doesn't get cheated when he goes to swing that bat. I think he had one of the longest home runs in the season last year for the Giants. Got great power. He's a guess hitter. He's going to look for a certain pitch in an area and try to do some damage. He was looking fastball. He got it, had to swing, but fouled it off.
Breaking ball, backs him out, misses inside, 1-1. Hit 24 home runs, a career high for the San Francisco Giants last year. Had a career high 85 runs batted in. Hit just 248. Swing and a miss, 1-2. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was kind of surprised at getting a 3-year deal.
I was just going to ask you that. I thought that was pretty high amount, but
generous.
Yes, but you're not going to turn that down if you're a player, I don't think.
1-2's popped up. First base side, Bobby Wilson near the on deck circle, runs out of room. Count remains at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Had a nice postseason last year too for the world champs. A lot of times you see that general manager will see your numbers during the regular season, but what you do in the big games sometimes will get you that extra year or so in a contract offer.
One, two, lifted in the air to shallow right center field. Castillo calls off Borges, and Rich Thompson has himself a 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning stretch time here at the Big A. Halos up by the score of 5-1. Bottom of the 7th inning, Gooby's favorite.
Oh, almost pulled a hamstring dancing up here already.
Absolutely. You got to stretch it out before you do that next time. And the popular Angels beanie is back and better than ever on Saturday, April 9th. The Angels take on the Blue Jays. That game's at 6:05, and all fans in attendance will receive a free ski beanie courtesy of Spartan Final. Be part of opening weekend. Don't miss out on this great beanie that will keep you warm all season long. To purchase tickets today, visit Angels.com.
Well, that'll look perfect walking around Chicago. It's going to be a little chilly there in April.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of defensive changes for the Los Angeles Dodgers. In right field, it's Jerry Sands. Takes over for Andre Ethier. Tony Gwynn Jr. is out at center field for Matt Kemp. And Xavier Paul is the new left fielder. So brand new outfield. Michael Antonini comes over for Lance Cormier. Overall numbers last year, the 8-12 with a 4.49 ERA. Listen, Howie Kendrick, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Cormier, by the way, went 1 inning, all zeros. Antonini now getting an opportunity to get some work in. Scheduled to face 2, 3, and 4. This will line foul and out of play to the right side. So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers also have a brand new third baseman. Aaron Miles is over there. Howie went around on that high fastball, and down he goes for the first out. So 1 away here to start the 7th. Chris Pettit will come up and bat for Bobby Abreu in the DH spot. Abreu ends the game going 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Not too long ago, we were just talking about guys that would be making the team or with a chance to make the team. Chris Pettit, because of the injury to Reggie Willis, pretty decent chance of making the team. He's had a nice spring.
Certainly a good outfitter, but has been playing some first base also. Versatile. That's the key for a guy making the 25-man roster, playing a number of positions.
Pettit with a home run, 8 runs batted in this spring. Lines one to left field. Paul's not going to get this one. It's a one-hopper off the fence, and it goes over the fence. Looked like a fan maybe reached over a little bit. It's going to go as a double. The man in scoring position here with 1 out in the 7th inning.
Oh, nice swing by Pettit. His hands inside. Good part of the bat, drive it right out to left field, 1 hop into the stands.
So Bobby Wilson will step to the plate for his first plate appearance.
I'll tell you what, those last couple days of spring for a player is so difficult. It's the nerves, the butterflies, figuring out if you're going to make the team or not make the team.
Yep.
The travel plans, the difficulties with that, if you're going to stay here at the big league club or go down AA, AAA. Not easy times for a young player this last few days of camp.
Good fastball there from Antonini. No balls, 2 strikes. Bobby hitting .311 in the spring. 5 doubles, 5 RBIs. Out of options, more than likely making this ball club as he did last year. Count remains at no balls, 2 strikes.
A lot of decisions for Mike Scioscia, the entire organization, these last few spots in the roster.
Bobby pulling one to third, and Miles has it for the 2nd out. A missile off the bat of Wilson, right to Miles. 2 outs now. Here comes Vernon Wells.
That reactionary position, third base. Miles in the ballgame. That's for that line drive by Bobby Wilson.
Especially down there below the waist at third base. You're not sure, from especially off a right-handed batter, the ball's going to hook toward the line. You're not sure how to make that play. I mean, that ball is on you.
And you don't know if you're going to have to one-hop it or not. You did a nice job of staying with that and making the catch.
Pickoff attempt at second. Pettit is back safely. Go back to that line shot off the bat of Wilson.
Not a lot of time to react. He's looking over to see where Pettit's going to do it. Maybe steal third, and next thing you know, the baseball's on him.
Somebody got crossed up there, and it still drops it for a strike. That's when you're going good. You completely fool A.J. Ellis. But since you throw a strike, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but if it's going to be that way, you've got to have him cross up and throw the breaking pitches compared to looking for the curveball, get the fastball. Pretty good job of Ellis to be able to catch that and frame it. Keep it in the strike zone.
You're just thankful as a catcher the hitter didn't swing. That's in there, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Vernon tonight 1 for 3, had a double in the 3rd. Upstairs, 1 and 2. Keeping his at-bat alive, so the count remains at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice job of just fouling off that baseball. Good changeup. On the outer half, 81 miles an hour after a good fastball up and in. Now, if you're a pitcher right now, a good spot to go right back with a fastball to the outside corner. You've got to be looking out over the plate.
Fastball missed in, 2-2. Antonini's a PA guy. Yeah. He's born in Drexel Hill. Makes his home in Aston, Pennsylvania.
Drexel Hill. Not too far from my neck of the woods back in Philadelphia area.
Vernon pops this one up. Justin Sellers with the call. The 7th comes to an end. No runs, a hit. The Halos leave a man on. 7 in the books. Angels still lead the Dodgers by the score 5-1. Start the top of the 8th inning with the Angels up 5-1. New second baseman Alexi Amarista in place of Howie Kendrick.
I'll tell you what, Amarista's done a nice job. Very impressive in spring.
Tyson Auer is in left field. Michael Kahn takes over on the mound. Do have a new shortstop in as well. It looks like it's Andrew Romine. Ah, yes, the last game of spring training. Kahn's first pitch, a fastball in at the knees for a strike on James Loney. It's Loney, Thames, and A.J. Ellis, the catcher. 6, 7, and 8. Snowballs 2 strikes. Michael Kahn has had a heck of a spring himself. 0-1, a .82 ERA, pitching now in his 12th game. 11 innings, 11 hits, 8 punch outs, and 2 walks. Off speed, lifted in the air to shallow center. Amarista going out. He'll give way to Mike Trout. Trout makes the catch for the first out. James Loney 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, you talk about a guy that has great stuff, but also very competitive on the mound. Michael Kahn is a guy that's not afraid to challenge hitters. He's got a very good fastball, good breaking pitch. Mike Scioscia put him in some tough situations last year, and he was very successful. Now he's carried that into spring with more confidence. A big part of this bullpen.
Marcus Thames 0 for 2. Soon to be 0 for 3. Mark Trumbo makes the catch, and he does. 2 outs. That'll bring up A.J. Ellis. We heard about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, Mike Scioscia talking about the bullpen and the closing situation that going into the season to begin. It's going to be Fernando Rodney, but that's certainly not without knowing that there is some depth to change things up if need be, which you don't hope. You'd like to establish roles in the pen and kind of have it flow that way consistently throughout the year, but injuries or stumbles, at least you've got options.
And that's the big word.
Young options too.
Power arms. That's the big thing for you. If you have options, the guys that come in there and throw strikes and challenge hitters and get hitters out in that 8th and 9th inning, it's not an easy thing to do, getting that 3 outs in the 9th. But when you have a slider like that along with a fastball 93, 94, it's certainly an option too down the road for Mike Scioscia. You got Jordan Walden throwing 100. Kevin Jepson. Scott Downs might get an opportunity occasionally with some left-handed batters coming up in the 9th inning. So there's options. If Fernando Rodney is going to be given that opportunity to be the closer again this year, the fastball's there, the changeup, its command of those 2 pitches is going to determine how successful he's going to be.
Kahn misses outside. That's a full count on A.J. Ellis. Missed outside and walks it. So a 2-out walk puts a man on. Dodgers down by 4 here in the 8th. Xavier Paul will come up for his first plate appearance. Took over for Gabe Kapler. Good fastball in for a strike. Xavier Paul hitting .245, a couple of home runs, 5 runs batted in. Throws right, bats left, swings through the fastball. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Louisiana native, former 4th-round pick in 2003 by the Dodgers. Seen some time in the big leagues, albeit limited over the last couple of years. He goes down swinging. Michael Kahn does the damage on 3 pitches. We get to the bottom of the 8th here at the Big A with the Angels leading it 5-1. Kubas does. We start at the bottom of the 8th. I want to remind you to subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Angels game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. With MLB.tv Premium, you can enjoy HD quality home and away coverage, multi-game view, and the ability to pause and rewind live games. Visit Angels.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Antonini still in the game. New first baseman for him, Hector Jimenez. Place now of James Loney. A nice game for the Halos. 5 runs, 11 hits, and he left 6 men on base. The Dodgers, on the other hand, 1 run, 3 hits. They've stranded 2. Terrific performances tonight. Scott Casby had a very good start. His 4 1/3. The bullpen guys have been fantastic. Matt Palmer, a scoreless inning in 2/3. Rich Thompson, a 1-2-3 7th inning. And Michael Kahn picked up a strikeout for giving up the 2-out walk. No runs allowed between those guys. Mike Trout takes the big curveball from Antonini down low. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, Trout's getting an opportunity to get some at-bats in spring training. Get a good look. If you're a youngster like that, 19 years old, getting this many at-bats against major league pitching, got to be a confidence booster for you.
28 total at-bats coming into this one, hitting .250 with an RBI. Takes that inside fastball for a strike. 1-2. So see big Jordan Walden looking to close things down in the 9th inning. Off the end of the bat. That's going to be a tough play. Jamie Carroll's not going to give Mike Trout an infield base hit.
Yeah, once that got by the pitcher, that was going to be a base hit. So with that type of build, to have that type of speed is pretty amazing. Power and speed. That's why you look around and you see in most publications, #1 prospect in baseball. So young still, learning the game.
So Trout's on board with nobody out. Here's Mark Trumbo. Looks at a fastball high. Trumbo's 0 for 3. He's grounded to third, struck out, and grounded to first. Got to keep him honest.
Have to show that doesn't look like it's the A move for Antonini. Just show him over there. Just make sure that Trout realizes he's paying attention to him. Well, that's the good thing if you're a hitter right now. When you have a pitcher, his tension went away from you and looking at the base runner, you're more apt to make a mistake. Trumbo's a guy you don't want to make a mistake to.
Well, he's fallen behind here. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, Vic, you mentioned on Sunday how the club was more station to station last year. Mark Sosa is very happy with the team speed they have, and it's going to create situations where you're going to have a pitcher's focus goes away from the hitter, and you have an opportunity to do some damage.
Two-0. Down the left field line and hooking foul. It's 2-1. Time is called as beach ball has come onto the field and right. Early morning tomorrow for the Angels, getting on the charter, heading out to Kansas City. And then that 3 o'clock Central Time start on Thursday. 1 o'clock here Pacific.
I've never seen an opening game ever played in Kansas City at 3 o'clock. It's always been a 1 o'clock game.
What's the point?
Want to give pitchers an advantage to get the shadows out there a little earlier?
I guess.
I'm sure it's going to be cloudy, so I don't need to worry about the shadows all that much.
Another great crowd here at the Big A, 27,779. 2-1. Pulled the string on him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Angel Castillo, the man on deck. Mike Trout at first base, nobody out here. A 5-1 game for the Angels. A lone run for the Dodgers coming into third off the bat of Rod Barajas. Fouled back. Count remains 2-2. Fouled back over our heads into the upper tank. Trumbo, towering shot to center field. Gwynn was there. There's out number 1. Time now for our FoxSportsWest.com poll question of the night. Which Angel has had the best spring training? Mark Trumbo, Howie Kendrick, Alberto Callasco, Eric Ibar, Peter Borges, or Bobby Abreu? Log on now to FoxSportsWest.com/Angels.
There's been a lot of good numbers put up. The Angel hitters so far. We look to carry that on to opening day on Thursday.
Big swing and a miss by Castillo, comes up empty. No balls and a strike. Castillo hitting .304 this spring. 4 runs batted in. '21-year-old native of Venezuela. Spent all last year at Rancho Cucamonga where he hit .259. 21 home runs and 70 driven home. Non-roster invitee to spring training. He's picked up 23 at-bats this spring. 1-2. Trout, who had that infield base hit. Pretty good lead over at first base. Boy, pulled the string on Castillo. Down he goes for round number 2.
Good arm action on that changeup to sell it. Castillo thinking fastball. Speed differential gets him out in front of 78 mile-an-hour changeup. See if a hitter, you read, think fastball because that good arm action on it, but it's the grip of the changeup that allows that speed to be different.
So Andrew Romine steps in with 2 outs and a man at first. Pulls this one over to third. Miles has got it. He'll go the short way. Feeds Carroll for the 3rd out. Nothing happening for the Angels here. We've played 8 from the Big A. Angels still on top, 5-1. Top of the 9th here at the Big A, 5-1 Angels. One defensive change for the Halos, and that occurs over at first base. Efrain Navarro takes over from Mark Trumbo. A new pitcher on the mound, Jordan Walden. It's the finale of Cactus League action and the Freeway Series. Opening day coming up on Thursday in Kansas City. Angels live at 12:30. Fox Sports West game at 1 o'clock.
Boy, there's no better day than opening game of the baseball season. The adrenaline going, everyone's excited, everyone's even up at 0-0. Just that camaraderie you build, that handshake, the high fives to get the season going. Best day, period. Opening day in baseball.
Jordan Walden delivers a strike on Justin Sellers. .250 average this spring. That fastball outside. And it's 1-1.
Just judging from what he has done so far with the bullpen today, you would think it is an indication all 4 of these guys are going to be on that 25-man roster. All have pitched well. Certainly have given himself an opportunity to make the team.
A good fastball there. It is 2-2. Right back up the middle, and that's going to go into center field for a base hit. So the leadoff man is on board for the Dodgers. Justin Sellers with that base knock. Brings it to second baseman Jamie Carroll. See the pitching matchup starting on Thursday. Jared Weaver and Luke Hochevar. On Friday, Dan Herron, Jeff Francis. Saturday afternoon, 10 a.m. here in California, Santana against Kyle Davies. Then Sunday, also an afternoon contest. Scott Kazmir and Bruce Chen, battle of left-handers, getting this 2011 season underway.
And Kansas City going to throw some pitches that hit their spots. Hochevar with a good sinking fastball, but the other 3 pitchers are guys that rely on hitting their spots, changing speeds.
Just missed outside, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Wells picked up Matt Traynor.
Yep,
Texas catchers.
cash considerations. Jam shot down the line, foul. And it's 1-2. That trade kind of surprised me a little bit. Trainer did such a nice job for the Texas Rangers last year. Good clubhouse guy, veteran guy. And now it looks like they basically have a catching tandem of Torrey Alba and former Angel Mike Napoli. Carroll goes down swinging for the first down here in the ninth.
Challenger with that fastball, 95 miles an hour. But getting back to that catching situation in Texas, Mike Napoli's a guy that obviously the Angel fans know a lot about. DH, plays some first base and catch. But now you're taking that away by trading the trainer away. They'll give you that third catcher.
No balls and a strike on Jerry Sands. And it's no balls, 2 strikes. Scott Kazmir allowed 1 run in his 4 1/3. Matt Palmer scoreless inning and 2/3. Rich Thompson scoreless inning. Michael Kahn a scoreless inning. Swing and a miss. Down goes Sands, 2 outs.
Well, that's the big difference maker for Jordan Wall, the ability to throw that slider at 82 miles an hour after you can rush a fastball up at 100. Great break on that pitch.
So Tony Gwynn Jr. steps to the plate with 2 outs and a man on here in the ninth. The Angels up by the score of 5-1. The Halos of the victory here would finish Cactus League play. This one slapped toward the hole and through. A 2-out base hit for Gwynn. But as I was saying, it would be 18-13-1 for the Angels to finish spring training play before starting the regular season on Thursday.
Again, the impressive thing about that is the way they can swing in the bats. So important to have that consistent swing, staying in your element as far as your approach at the plate.
So Aaron Miles gets an opportunity here and looks at a fastball high. Two balls and no strikes. Lifted in the air to shallow right center field. Amarista going out. Mike Trout makes the catch, and the Angels pick up the finale of the Freeway Series by the final of 5-1.
Well, a lot of positives to start off with. Scott Kazmir, 4 1/3 innings pitched. Very solid. Lead off walk, but other than that, threw a lot of strikes. Of course, the bullpen was solid too for the Angels, but on the offensive side, Meister Source a couple of hits. Howie Kendrick swung the bat well. Torrey Hunter, what a game he had today, hit that home run center field. So a lot of positive. The offense continues to swing well.